Okay, I guess I'm live now. Um, yes, can anyone hear me? I'm not sure if the audio is working fine. Okay, let me write in the chat. It's just the first time I'm going live, I'm streaming live on YouTube, and some of the things are still terra incognita for me, which is why I'd be very happy to get a feedback from someone, if possible. It will be a shame if I keep talking for an hour and it will not be, there will be no sound. It will be a shame if I keep talking for an hour. Okay, I guess there will be no sound. Okay, there is a sound, which I'm very happy about. If not, yeah, I would appreciate if someone wrote a note in the chat. And the chat is available for everyone. I don't expect many people to tune in since my channel is still in its infancy and I do not have that many subscribers, but nevertheless, you can ask your questions in the chat and I'll try to respond to them as I move along. Okay, so today I decided to do a rather, I wouldn't say it would take me a long time to share with you all the expressions that have inspired me over many years that I have been teaching and learning simultaneously the English language. But yeah, I I I thought that it would be interesting for people learning English, for people taking a vivid interest in the language, to hear some expressions, some phrases that I have learned over all these years, because I guess most people are used to speaking English in a very informal, yes, but also in a very primitive way, I would say, because uh, English is spoken by what, maybe by 400 million of native speakers, but another billion or two speak it as a foreign language, and subsequently they exert a strong influence on what I would call simplification of the language, basically. Lots of tenses disappear. Nobody now uses, I guess, future perfect tense or future, hardly anyone uses those tenses, future perfect continuous tenses. So the simplification of the language is taking place, but my goal today is to open a small window onto expressions that you will very rarely hear, that you will very rarely come across. And I've made a collection of them because I guess the first real deal book that I read in English was back in 2011, and when I started reading it, the book was, I guess I have it over here. It's called Natasha's Dance, the cultural history of Russia. And after reading like a few lines, I understood that, wow, my vocabulary was so weak. I did not know many words, and I started like writing them down in my notebook, started looking them up in the dictionary, and that's how the long story began. Basically, I started to sort of to delve into the richness of the language, to try to get down to the bottom of things, so to speak, to I was trying to learn as many new words as possible to enrich my language, because I was not satisfied with the fact that I could, I don't know, that I could, for example, use only one word for meet, to meet someone. We can also come across someone, we can encounter someone. I mean, lots of words can spring to your mind when you have already obtained some, let's say, experience in learning new English words. So that is my idea, to show you the richness of what English could be, apart from Friends series, or apart from, I don't know, from Mr. Trump's speeches. So there is a lot more things that English has to offer. And yeah, like I said, today I'd like to start talking about the expressions. I have there somewhere in my computer, beg your pardon for this delay, for the technical glitches, but sometimes it happens. Just a second, please. Okay, I guess I have it. So, yeah, before, again, please bear with me. Before we start, actually, I start talking about the expressions. I'd like also to give you the idea of what kind of books I read and how I do that. Well, first of all, I'm interested in books on history of Europe in particular, medieval times, the Middle Ages, and the modern history, the history of the 20th, maybe 19th century. Which is why the language that is used in such kind of books is specific. I mean, specific words, specific expressions, specific vocabulary. So, yeah, I mean, I have never read a book on, I don't know, on the oceans, for example, or on geology, on math. So, which is why I guess I have missed out on many things in that domain. But still, I've got something to share with you today. And how I read books? Well, I always read an English book with a pen in my hand, with a pencil, of course. I do not like butchering books that much, but still, I scribble sometimes in the book. I make some note so that I can I can quickly find the word when I need to in later on. Yeah, so never will you see me reading an English book without a pencil in my hand. It causes, I guess, physical pain when I don't have a pencil around. So I just cannot read the book without a pencil in my hand, because I need to underline a new expression, I need to make a note, I need to, yeah. That's how I find this, I establish a connection to the book. Because without my notes, even if I have read a book and there is no note made by me, then I just have to start all over again. Okay, so and now let's get down to business. Expressions that I really like, expressions that make me proud, I would say. Because the knowledge that I have gained, it makes me proud that I am able to, to explain things differently. And learning a language and being able to speak a language implies the variety of different expressions that you have in your toolkit that you can use. You can describe your I mean, the same idea, you can explain it in many different ways, and that's what makes you a great learner, a great speaker of the language. You can describe things in many, many, many ways. Okay, so that was a pretty long introduction, and I hope you're not yawning still. So without further ado, let's discuss the expressions. So the ones that I have prepared for you today are from the book, not only from this book, but in particular from this book called The Medici by Paul Strathern. Paul Strathern is an 81-year-old Englishman, English historian who has written a superb book on the Medici family, on the most influential family in Florence back in 14th, the end of 14th, and until the beginning of the 16th century. So their rule in Florence spanned almost 3 centuries. And the first expression would be, pay attention to it, Baldassare. There was some guy in Florence called Baldassare. So this Baldassare managed to smuggle word to Cosimo. Cosimo was Cosimo Medici. He was one of the first tycoon. No, not that tycoon would not be the word that I use here, but he was the first in the king of the Medici who held much sway in Florence. So this Baldassare managed to smuggle word to Cosimo that he was going to be arrested. And I like this, to smuggle word to someone. What is smuggling? Smuggling is illegal transportation of some forbidden goods, maybe like gemstones, I don't know, drugs, whatever, over the border from one country to another. So, but not only can you smuggle things, you can also smuggle word. I mean, smuggle like basically he managed to inform Cosimo that this Baldassare was going to be arrested. But yeah, the author has used the expression to smuggle word, and I really like it. It opens up a new horizon for you of how you can express this idea in English. The next expression would be, quote, after 3 years, Venice entered the war on the side of Florence, thus heavily tilting the balance the other way. To tilt the balance the other way. So, first, one city was in power, had much power over the region, and now the scales, the balance was tilted the other way. Now another region had that sway. So I like this, to tilt the balance the other way. So the whole situation changed drastically. Okay, another one. These celebrations might have turned into a vindictive settling of scores. Vindictive settling of scores. To settle scores, well, some of you will know what that phrase means. It means that, for example, when something bad has been done to you and you would like to avenge yourself, to take a revenge on that person who has done it. So this is to settle a score. And also I like this, that the celebrations have turned, so people basically started avenge themselves. They started taking a revenge on someone who had previously taken advantage of them, let's put it that way. So a vindictive settling of scores. Really nice. And I guess that non-native speakers of the language, well, with some exceptions, of course, there are brilliant people who have managed to reach some unprecedented levels of the English language. For example, the first name that springs to mind is maybe Vladimir Nabokov, the Russian writer, or well, I don't know whose first native language was not English and who else made that huge jump in learning, but Yeah, but normally what I'm trying to say is that non-natives are not capable of coming up with such expressions. It's really, really difficult. I mean, if you have to explain a thought in your second language, then you would seldom think of something sophisticated as this turned into a vindictive settling of scores. You would say, like, you would substitute with something else. But I guess only natives are able to, yeah, to come up with such sentences. The next expression would be Cosimo, the same Cosimo that appeared in the first example. Cosimo went to great pains to appear as nothing more than a citizen of the Republic. So he went to great pains. Well, there is a basic, I would say, proficiency level expression which goes like this: to go to great lengths to do something. But here the author has used to go to great pains to do. I mean, he wanted it so much that he did everything he could, everything he was able to do in order to get what he wanted. So yeah, he went to great pains. The next sentence, next expression, the Florentine. Basically, I do not know how to pronounce it correctly, because some authors say Florentine Republic, a guy from Canada, a researcher of this period, he says Florentine, so I'm not sure if it's correct, but okay, I'll stick to this Florentine because a native speaker from Canada used it that way, so let it be so. The Florentine Republic came to full flowering in the 15th century. It came to full flowering. So it reached this level of development, and this level was really high. So, and it was at the peak of its power. This would be a synonym to this sentence, but I really enjoy this. I really like this. Came to full flowering. Cool. Next sentence, again from this very book, runs like this. Once again, Cosimo's luck had held. From the context, I understood what author meant. But again, what would you say in this? What would you say if you had to express this idea? You would maybe say, once again, Cosimo had luck. Cosimo was lucky. Would you ever say Cosimo's luck had held? Which means that, once again, basically Cosimo has achieved success. Interesting. I mean, these things, you're not taught these things at school, at the university. It's something that you can only find in the books, okay, in films, in other sources of information, but yeah, you have to dig really deep in order to find these things, and it's just amazing what reading, what a book can offer, what a book can show you. And I guess the last expression from this the Medici book is Coleoni is a running together of cuore and leone. So basically, the idea is that there was a guy named Coleoni, and the author is trying to explain to us what exactly his surname meant. And the phrase that he uses, I encountered it for the very first time when I was reading this book, and it's this: Coleoni is a running together of, and two Italian words, cuore, which is the Italian for heart, and leone, which is the Italian for lion. And I would say, if I were to write such a book, I would say Coleoni is a mixture, okay, is a combination of the two Italian words, cuore and leone, but it would have never occurred to me that you can put it as a running together of cuore and leone. I mean, this is something that, yeah, again, native speakers only can do. It's just, and it is amazing. I mean, and knowing such tiny, cute expressions give you so much satisfaction. You know that such phrases exist, and you basically believe me, there will be a time, an opportunity, a chance will present itself when you will be able to use this expression. And this moment when you know that this expression now can be applied, and the moment you utter this word, you get satisfaction. You're bound to get the satisfaction because it just then you understand that A, you have read a fantastically informative book, and B, you have managed to you have managed to use the knowledge that you have obtained by reading the book. And yeah, I'm running out of superlatives of how cool that feeling is when you're able to say these phrases. It's just, well, I'm not sure it is that cool to you, but I hope after watching this stream, boring as it may be, um, you will also be inspired to write down new expressions, to use them in your everyday speech. Although these expressions might be a bit stilted, but yeah, I hope you'll be as crazy about them as I am. Another book that I read many years ago, and by many years ago I mean 10 years ago, which is by today's standards is a heck of a long time. The book is called A People's Strategy. Tragedy? Did I say tragedy? It's Tragedy. Written by another brilliant British contemporary scholar called Orlando Figes. He, I guess, is the first man you need to go to when you want to know more about the Russian history. And he, in 1996, wrote a masterpiece about the Russian Revolution of 1917. In this book, he also explains to the reader all the facts, all the developments, circumstances that led up to the revolution itself. And again, his English there is, it borders on greatness, I would say. I have learned a great deal from that book, and here come several expressions from it. The first is Brusilov fitted the bill. Well, I need to give you a pre-story, just a short explanation of what exactly the author meant by this. So Brusilov was a Russian general, a very talented general, and after the Russian Tsar Nicholas II had abdicated, I guess it was in 1917, the interim government came to power, led by Alexander Kerensky. And this Kerensky was looking for someone to help him with the management of such a great empire. And so this Kerensky had several. He wanted to find a man whom he could trust, a man who had a good understanding of the international relations, of where Russia was finding itself at that time. And Brusilov fitted the bill. Well, Brusilov was someone whose qualities met all the requirements set by Kerensky. But again, the author did not use the word Brusilov met the requirements. He used the phrase Brusilov fitted the bill. Something I would never say, well, because I'm not a native speaker. The next sentence would be, oh, that's a beauty. That's a beauty. The peasant drew a smile from the frozen-faced German waiter by asking which wine was stronger. So there was a thing. So the negotiations between the Russians, the Bolsheviks who came to power, and the Germans who basically, well, who invaded Ukraine and who threatened the Russians with a gradual takeover of the whole empire, should they not concede to all those. Do you call that, to all those to the ultimatum set by the Germans? And so the Russians were seeking for a man, for a peasant, who could come with them who could participate together with them in those negotiations with the Germans, peace negotiations that were taking place, I guess, somewhere in the winter of 1907. Oh, I don't remember the dates correctly. So they were looking for the peasant because those peasant was meant to represent the Russian people, the working class, so to speak. Not the working class, but the people, the real people coming from villages. And they were searching for this man, and they saw a random guy. They came across a random guy on the street, and they took him to a restaurant simply to have a conversation with him and to inveigle him into participating in those negotiations. So, and the peasant was a very an ordinary guy who was dazzled, I guess, by St. Petersburg. The whole thing happened in St. Petersburg. The talks, not the talks, but they were looking for this peasant in St. Petersburg. So they found one. They went to a restaurant, started talking to him, and then a waiter came to their table, waiting for their order, and he asked this peasant if he would like Merlot or something else. I don't recall the wine exactly, the name of the wine. And the peasant drew a smile from the frozen-faced German waiter. I would say the peasant made a waiter smile, but I would never say the peasant drew a smile from the waiter by asking which wine was stronger. Again, this drew a smile from, it's just, for me it's another level. I don't know, it's just, something I would never have said in that situation. Another sentence from this book is, oh no, it's from another book, I beg your pardon, also by Orlando Fages. The book is called Crimea, about the Crimean War of 1853-1856. I would not go deep into that story, into what that book is really about. It's just, I would like to share one sentence from it, which reads, Nicholas I cut a striking figure in London sleeping on a bed strewn with straw. Nicholas I cut a striking figure. So there is such an expression, which I then found out, which is called to cut a striking figure, to cut a, I don't know, brilliant figure, to cut a figure. You can put an adjective by yourself, which means to surprise someone by your behavior, by your habits, by your character traits. I don't know, by anything that you have in you. So you cut a striking figure. So he surprised everyone by sleeping on a bed strewn with straw. And Nicholas I, basically, he was known for his whimsical, as they say, for his weird, strange habits. And the one of lying on a bed strewn with straw was one of them, basically. Okay, also in this book, People Stretch the Book, I also have jotted down an expression which reads, Mr. Carlington was not known for diplomacy, and he destroyed the whole Turkish fleet. I like this. Karl Lincoln was not known for diplomacy, so nobody expected from him any diplomatic qualities. So, and which is why he simply went with his I don't know, what do you call the sailmen? His army, his naval army, and destroyed the Turkish fleet back in 1853 or 54. So, if you are not known for something, it means that you do not possess those qualities, those traits, and yeah. I guess it is also used, this phrase is also used in a bit humorous way to show that, yeah, not only does that person not have these qualities, but that person does not care if he or she has them. Okay, and the next expression, again from this book, is the army had little stomach for opposing such a great adversary. To have little stomach for doing something. As I looked this word up in a dictionary, I found out that you can also say you can also have no stomach. You can have little stomach and you can have no stomach for doing something, which means that you don't have the courage. You're not brave enough to do something. So yeah, again, the Russian army had little stomach for opposing such a great adversary. Nice. So stomach is not only about digesting food. It is also about having being courageous, having courage to do something. Yeah, so I guess this is it. I would not want to go further and to throw so many expressions at you. I guess for today that would be enough to digest everything that I have said so far. But I guess I will, in my next streams, I will prepare some more expressions, not only expressions but also words as well. Interesting words, non-trivial words that you would never encounter anywhere but in specific sorts of literature, in specific and particular books. I would appreciate if you wrote some comments, if you dropped a line into the chat saying what you liked, what you didn't like about this stream. Because again, it's the first time I have done it, and I feel a bit nervous because the things that I take an interest in might not be as interesting to those watching the stream. But again, any feedback will do. I will be delighted to see your reaction. And okay, no questions so far, that is fine. All right, so this is it, the expressions. The first stream is done. I'm looking forward to our next online encounters, meetings, and yeah, have a nice evening or morning if you are somewhere not in Ukraine or in America, Canada, you name it. So, see ya. I was happy to have spoken this much, this long. What, 35 minutes? Okay, and counting. Okay, good. Cheers, and remember, English is a beauty and it pays off. Learning English and learning a good English pays off in the future. Bye.